This week on Dance of Joy, we talk about Dave Grohl's youthfulness, Costco goat, and politically charged international 90s dance beats. All that and more as we watch Season 6, Episode 14 of our favorite 80s hit sitcom, Perfect Strangers. Hello, and welcome to Dance of Joy, a Perfect Strangers rewatch podcast. My name is Imran. I'm one of your hosts every week. Of course, joining me, my sister, Sophia. Hi, Sophia.
Hi, Imran.
How's it going?
It's going well. I'm happy to be here. I'm a little tired today. I went to Riot Fest day 1 yesterday, all day long.
Oh, that's a hip thing for someone.
Yeah, it's a big thing. You know, it was a lot of fun. I did wonder, I was fine yesterday. I went from the morning till the very end of the headlining event, which was the Foo Fighters, so there were a lot of people. I went to see Ani DeFranco, George Clinton, and Foo Fighters. So there were a lot of people my age, a lot of Gen Xers.
See,
around.
that's what I was going to say. At my age, the prospect of going to a day-long music festival.
I'm feeling it today. I felt good yesterday, but
exhausting.
I'm a little exhausted today.
I don't know, with all those people standing around.
It wasn't actually it wasn't scary crowded. It was there was good flow and movement of people.
That's good.
So I didn't feel that.
But then there's all the kids are there, and I would just feel old, you know?
And then there were literal children.
Oh, there's
kids.
families.
People brought their kids.
Well, that's fun. They want to expose them to music early. I'm all good with that.
Yeah, it's fun. No, it was a good time. But today I'm am I too old for this? I don't know. But it felt good. It felt good to have some music and joy, and
absolutely.
It's amazing.
That's good. That ties into the themes of aging and growing old in this week's episode of Perfect Strangers, Season 6, Episode 14, just titled Grandpa.
No reference there, just
no.
Grandpa.
You know what I always think of when I just see someone the word Grandpa or hear Grandpa? The great Fred Gwynn as Herman Munster.
Grandpa.
Going, Grandpa.
Grandpa.
He would always say Grandpa. It's so
R.I.P.,
funny.
right?
Yeah, he passed away.
Grandpa.
Herman Munster saying Grandpa is stuck in my head forever.
Yeah.
But he's not in this week's episode.
No. No Herman Munster. We'll have to do a different podcast on him. What is in this week's episode? If you were to open the TV guide description in 1991, you would have read about this episode. A visiting Grandpa Appleton arrives with a youthful attitude.
Oh, good for Grandpa.
And a much younger girlfriend.
Oh, well, I guess that helps, too.
Saucy.
Wow. Let's see what happens. We got our dynamic duo, Bronson Pinchot playing Balky and Mark Lynn Baker playing Larry Appleton. And that's really it for the main cast there. We have, of course,
we have some
Grandpa
guests.
and some other guests coming in.
Yeah. And we'll get to that. This episode aired on January 11th, 1991.
And, of course, all of this is available to stream on Freebie, Amazon Freebie. That you hear every time for free.
The jingle.
All 8 seasons. Watch along, binge along, listener.
I have to tell you, I got a note the other day from a friend of mine who was traveling with some friends and was in I guess he doesn't have Amazon Prime usually, but he's I'm in an Airbnb, I'm traveling with some friends, and they have Amazon here, and I started binge watching Perfect Strangers.
Oh my God.
And he said he had come to this country in 1988 as a 3-year-old, and this was one of the first shows
it taught him English, probably.
Watched, and he was very much enjoying binging. He started from season 1. I think he's well into season 2.
Okay, now he has to listen to our podcast.
Oh,
from the beginning.
Absolutely. That's why he reached out.
Perfect opportunity.
So yeah, if you're in an Airbnb and you don't have Amazon, usually check it out at your hotels and your Airbnb, and you can watch it for free.
It's free for everybody, though. I think so.
Oh, it is free for everyone. Yeah. That's true. Maybe he just doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Okay,
just don't. You got to go there.
You got to go there. It is free for everyone. My bad. Okay. Anyway, watch it with your friends when you're in an Airbnb. Okay, let's get into Grandpa. Act 1. We are in the apartment, and Larry and Balky are preparing for a visitor. They're fussing about the living room, straightening things up. Balky's in the kitchen cooking, preparing something. And then right with the first line, we get the premise. Looks like we're all set for Grandpa's visit.
Great setup right there by Larry Appleton.
Yes. And then he does this thing that I can't even do, but it's a very Larry characteristic where he rapidly sniffs at the air. I can't even do it.
He always looks like a little rodent to me when he's doing that.
A little badger or something.
Yeah, he's over at the counter with Balky, and he's like, "What's that smell?"
And get ready for some Meposian something.
Some Meposian food coming up.
The smell is Balky's hot and spicy goat lips.
Goat lips. He made goat lips. Larry goes, "You made goat lips?" And Balky goes, "Well, of course I did. Don't be ridiculous." Apparently, these are the traditional Meposian grandparent welcoming dish. We learned.
And goat lips made me think of what we just did. We took our mom to Costco the other night as an outing and ended up buying a big old box. How many pounds?
It was 15 pounds of cubed frozen halal goat.
So we have a lot of frozen goat at our mom's house, but not lips.
No.
We haven't done goat lips.
You can buy the whole halal goat also.
Yeah, the whole
or a
entire
lamb.
thing.
They have a whole hanging there.
I don't think the head is on there though.
Oh no, the head is not on there. That's separate. The head is actually very special. It's a specialty.
Yeah.
But that's the fact that Costco had halal lamb and goat.
Costco had a
crazy.
whole goat hanging in the freezer. And the only reason we know that is on a previous visit, we saw somebody buying this couple.
Like, what is that? You buying a whole lamb?
The whole goat. And we were so shocked. We stayed and asked them questions. We're like, where are you going to take this? What are you going to do with it?
You can take it to a butcher or you can cut it up yourself if you have like a chainsaw or something. I don't know.
Had to lift the whole thing into their cart. It was so awesome. Anyway. So we get excited by the goats. She made some today. I was over there.
That's what I was going to say. She better try a bunch of different goat recipes.
Yeah,
That's all
it was good.
You got 15 pounds of goat, lady.
I had some.
Make it work.
No, it'll last her a while. I'll keep it in the freezer.
That's
anyway, okay, back to the goat lips. Yeah, we haven't had goat lips.
Yes, goat lips are Meposian grandparent welcome dish.
Yeah, he says, don't be ridiculous. Your grandpa's coming. I'm making goat lips. Hot and spicy goat lips.
Oh, they're hot and spicy.
We haven't seen them yet, but just then we hear the kitchen timer go off and Balky's like, oh, I got to pull them out. Don't want them to get too crispy.
Oh, no, you don't. You don't want crispy goat lips. That's the worst thing ever.
And he pulls out a dish from the oven. He sets it down. But before we see them, Balky says that he had an idea. After dinner, he wants to take Grandpa to the Lithuanian circus. It's audience participation night.
Oh, fun.
And he goes, how is Grandpapa Appleton on the high wire? Grandpapa Appleton. That's a lot of P's. Grandpapa Appleton.
Lithuanian circus is interesting. That sounds like fun.
It does actually sound like a lot of fun.
And then Balky's got a tray with aluminum foil, and he's about to count his goat lips. But first, Larry's like, "Hold your Lithuanian horses." After the hearing this suggestion,
hold your horses. But he says, "Hold your Lithuanian horses."
And then Balky, with his fingers, they're still hot. He goes, "1 diggy hot lips." 2 diggy hot lips.
Takes it out, puts them,
and we see these things. 3 diggy hot lips.
What do they look like?
Oh my God, they look like these wriggly red, weird wax lips. They kind of look like
huge wax.
Yes, huge, round, red.
The whole mouth.
Yes,
a whole. Like it looks like prop.
It does look like a goat's lips, though. I got to be honest.
Like red. And how do you even eat them? Do you cut them up?
Doesn't look very edible. It looks very squishy and waxy.
So he's counting them: 1 diggy hot lips, 2 diggy hot lips, 3 diggy hot lips, 4 diggy hot lips. And then he picks one up and makes kissing motions towards Larry. And he keeps counting 5, 6, 7 diggy hot lips. And after 7, Larry goes, Balky. And Balky goes, you made me lose count. And there's one left. And Larry picks it up and he goes, 8 diggy hot lips.
Diggy hot lips. And Larry goes, Balky, circuses and hot diggy goat lips are going to be too much for Grandpa. He tells Balky that his grandfather is 76 years old. He is a widower.
Yeah.
He doesn't get around so well anymore. He describes him as a quiet, frail old gentleman. And he says we have to treat him carefully.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God. Now we're expecting some frail old individual. When there's a knock on the door, we're going to meet Grandpa Appleton right now.
And they go to open the door, and this quite tall, older gentleman steps in, and he goes, hiya, Larry.
Yes, exuberant, enthusiastic, full of life, old man. Hiya, Larry. It's great.
Yeah, and Larry's confused. He's like, Grandpa? And the man, Grandpa Appleton, comes in. He picks up Larry in a bear hug.
Puts him to the side.
Turns him around, puts him on the other side. And then he does this. He says, "You must be Balky." And he does the same thing. Picks him up, sets him down next to Larry. And Balky welcomes him. He says, "Welcome to our home, Grandpapa Appleton." And he goes, "Thank you, Balky, but it's not Grandpa anymore.
Oh?
It's Buzz."
Oh, it's Buzz Appleton. Oh, man, it's not Grandpa.
He wants to be called Buzz. And he's wearing like bright colored sweater.
He's wearing like a Cosby sweater
and, like,
all
sneakers.
the time. You know, yes, but he's got and
he's tall.
He's very tall. And I guess Larry didn't get any of the height genes. So this is obviously like from Larry's side of the family, right? It's Grandpa
Larry's
Appleton.
Father's side.
Right.
Yeah.
But Larry is confused, shocked. He has everyone to sit down on the sofa. And he's like, "It's great to see you, Grandpa." And then Grandpa again reminds him, "Larry, it's Buzz."
Buzz.
And he's like, "Great to see you, Buzz." And he just goes, "What's happened? I hardly recognize you anymore."
And Grandpa says he dropped 15 pounds and got a new wardrobe.
Wow. He must look way different.
And then he puts his foot on the table. He goes, "How do you like these b-ball shoes with the slam dunk pump?" He has like
remember those pump up sneakers?
Very big in the early 90s.
Yes, you had to pump up. Nike, I think, came out with them first. You had to pump up on the tongue.
If you don't know about these, they had little like air pockets that you would press to pump.
Psst, psst,
yeah,
and
on
then,
like the tongue or the
and then
back
just
of
like
the
that,
shoe.
You could play like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You were great at basketball.
What did the pump do? They put air
in the air in the bottom for cushioning when you jump. No, it made you jump higher.
Did you ever have those shoes?
I did. I might have had like a knockoff.
Yeah.
And I probably pumped them up too much and they exploded because I'm an idiot.
Knockoff.
But they didn't make me play basketball any better. Let me tell you, those commercials were entirely a lie. It's false advertising, I tell you. So Balky takes a look at these shoes. He goes, "Bodacious, Buzz."
Yay. So here we get a little hint at the B alliterations coming
There's more B alliterations
to come. It's always
B's.
Yeah. And then Grandpa gets a little distracted and he does exactly what Larry does. This must be an Appleton family characteristic. He sniffs at the air like a raccoon or whatever. Except he says, "What's that delicious smell?"
Oh, he likes it.
Balky tells him that he has prepared Maposian goat lips, but Cousin Larry says they might be too spicy for him. And here Grandpa says, "You know what? I always say there's no such thing as too rich, too thin, or too spicy."
Oh, man.
That's a very 90s thing to say about too thin anyway.
Well, the too thin part, I thought, that does not age well.
That doesn't age well.
But the point is, this man was trying to live his life, right?
He's having a good time.
Too rich, too thin,
he would have been
too
there
spicy.
at Riot Fest.
He would have been right there in the mosh pit. Do they still have mosh pits? No, nobody moshes. Not to Ani DeFranco anyways. But, I don't know. I don't know what the kids do these days.
More dancing for sure. But
that's good. They have their own language. It's good for them.
And then Balky has a similar saying. He says, "And I always say there's no such thing as too happy, too friendly, or too many pigs in your house."
That's Maposian living your life up in me puss. And then he's like, "But that's not putting lips in your stomach." He runs over there to get him and he comes back and Grandpa Buzz goes from being really excited to just kind of politely pushing the plate away. When he sees him, he's like, "Oh, that was a bad idea." He pushes the plate. He goes, "You know what I really like? Some of that famous deep dish Chicago pizza."
Yum.
And then he goes, "Oh, and then maybe we can catch that Lithuanian circus. I hear it's in town." So he also heard about the circus, to which Balky responds,
"Well, feed me peanuts and call me Dumbo."
Yes, that's a
Dumbo, the
Disney Dumbo reference. But Buzz, he's got his finger on the pulse of the nightlife. He knows about the Lithuanian circus.
And Larry doesn't get it. He's like, "You never acted like this before. What's happened to you?" And Grandpa says, "I've never been this old before."
Good answer.
And he tells Larry that he has realized that he has a few years left and those years are precious and he doesn't want to waste them and he wants to meet some new people and have some new experiences. So he had gone on a cruise.
Oh.
And he had a terrific time. And he even made a new friend, Sam. And Sam lives in Chicago and they had so much fun that they decided to meet again. So that's why he's in Chicago.
Sam is a lovely unisex name for the setup for this character because, I don't know, you can think about it either way.
Obviously, Larry is expecting another old man named Sam.
Well, see, maybe it is. Maybe it's an elderly gentleman. Yeah, they played some mahjong.
Foreshadowing, yes.
They played some shuffleboard on this cruise.
And Larry suggests, like, he's still, like, confused by his grandpa's behavior. And he's like, don't you want to, like, take things slower as someone at your age? Grandpa just quips back, when you only have half the time, you got to go twice as fast.
Oh, boy.
When you only got half the time, you got to go twice as fast.
He wants to live every day.
And then he takes up his stuff.
I like his attitude.
Takes his bags and goes into Larry's room where he's going to sleep. And he goes out of the scene to go, he
goes back to the bed. Yeah, just shuts the door. And they're just standing there, turned around. Balky's smiling, and Larry is just still kind of shocked. And Balky goes, well, cousin, Grandpa Appleton is exactly the way you described him, except for the clothes and the shoes and the way you described him. It's pretty funny. He goes, I guess we won't be needing the hot water bottle and the prune juice you bought.
And Larry's like, well, the prune juice is for me.
Yeah, so he goes, can return the hot water. And he makes a face like he's a little constipated.
Yeah.
Larry's a little constipated.
Larry's always had a
needs the prune
stomach.
juice.
Yes.
So we have an exuberant Buzz Appleton in the apartment. It's fantastic.
And we go to the next scene, and it's the next day now, and the apartment door, they're all arriving back to the apartment. Larry looks exhausted.
Yeah, he's like holding his back. He looks annoyed.
Grandpa and Balky like run in as if one's chasing the other, and they plop down on the couch. And Balky tickles Grandpa. It's almost like they were playing a game of Bucci
They might have been in the middle of a game of Bucci tag.
He doesn't say Bucci, Bucci, Bucci.
Yeah, well, there's no Bucci around.
Tickling him in the stomach.
Yes, they're having
all
a ball.
Laughing.
Yeah. Like
joyful.
little kids.
Yeah.
And so Larry's sitting on the arm of the sofa, and then Balky is sitting next to him, and Grandpa is sitting next to him.
Talking about the log ride.
They went to amusement park. And they did crazy things, like they rode the log ride standing up, apparently, is the jokes they made. And they're like, And then suddenly Grandpa checks his watch. He goes, oh, it's almost 6 o'clock. Sam will be here any minute. He goes, I got to go pump my shoes. And then he gives a friendly shove, a little too hard, to Balky, who bumps into Larry, who knocks him off of the arm of the sofa onto the ground. It's really funny.
It was funny.
You know how like people just, when they shove you a little too hard, it's a friendly shove, but they don't know that they're shoving too hard. Funny sight gag, because Larry just pops right off the sofa.
And so he leaves the scene again, and then we find out that Larry is mad at Balky, but Larry's upset with Balky. He says, what am I going to do with him? He's my grandfather. He's acting like a teenager, and you're not helping. He's blaming Balky.
Balky's not having it.
And Balky is a little offended by that. And he goes, cousin, I've had it up to here with you, but he's pointing at his knee.
Well, they're both sitting on the sofa, but it's still, it's a low here.
Yeah.
So he's still got a lot of ways to go, Larry. Down here, it's kind of funny. But Balky is not having it. We learn a little bit about how they treat young and old people on Meatpost. Balky tells them there's absolutely nothing wrong with a person acting as young as they feel. He says, on Meatpost, we treat the young as if they're old, so they'll gain wisdom, and we treat the old as if they're young, so they'll gain vitality. Interesting.
Larry's like, yeah, but you also treat your pigs to dinner and a movie, so you'll gain acceptance from your livestock.
So you'll gain acceptance for your livestock.
Larry's so mean. Even 5-6 years in, he's so mean about everything Meposian.
That's a funny line, and it's also true, because Balky gets up and goes, well, that's only during the harvest season, but I don't see what any of this has to do with Buzz. He's offended. So Larry actually made a joke of something that happened. See, he's paying attention.
And here comes Larry.
Here's the counter to the Meatpost life.
Larry-splaining.
Yeah.
He says, this is America.
Oh, boy. We're starting with the
He makes Balky sit down first. Then he goes, this is America. Things are a little different. People know their age and they act their age. That's how they know what to charge at the movie.
Yeah, so, the senior citizen discount.
And Balky says, well, I don't think my best bud Buzz appreciates being put in a box.
And Larry's like, and they start arguing. Larry's like, oh, he is not your best bud Buzz.
Oh, I beg to differ.
No, but he is not your best bud Buzz.
And Balky goes, excuse me, I beg to butt in. I beg to butt in.
He's like, no, he's not. No, he's not.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I beg to butt in. And then
Buzz is my bosom buddy booby. and
then he finally just says that. And Larry goes, look, Balky, don't give me that best bud Buzz business, Balky. Because he is my grandfather, I'll deal with him. This is so funny. He's like, I beg to butt in. I beg to butt in. And then he just slips in the Buzz is my bosom buddy, booby.
In the middle of the argument,
They're like talking over each other. It's so funny. Good bees.
Good arguments. And then they both sit and kind of like upset with each other. And Balky goes, "This is because you got wet, isn't it? I told you not to sit in the front of the
log, right?
And they cross their arms in unison, like, and pout.
They're like, and then there's a knock on the door, and Balky goes, "Get the door." And Larry goes, "You get it." And then Balky goes, "We'll both get it." And they're both kind of like mad at each other, and they slowly stand up. And Balky goes, "But you go first." And then
they're like
they just stop.
done being mad. As soon as they go to the door, they're like...
Because then Larry suddenly goes, "Oh, this is probably Grandpa's friend." And they're all smiley.
They're done being
There
mad.
is a little, it's funny. It's cute. Like, they were mad, and then they switch right away. There's a little laugh from the audience.
And Larry has a bit of a change of heart. He's like, okay, this must be Grandpa's friend. You know, hanging around with an old guy his own age might settle him down. It might be good for him. And he opens the door, and there's a woman there, older than the boys, but much younger than Grandpa.
Yes, in a red top and a skirt.
Yeah, she's dressed to go out.
She's dressed to go out.
She's looking good. And she goes, "Hi, I'm Sam Morrison."
This is Sam.
And they're just staring at her in shock. And she looks around. She's like, "Is Buzz here?" And they're like, "You're Sam?" She says, "Yes, Samantha." They invite her in. And Balky says, "Buzz told us all about you, except that you were young and a woman."
And just then Buzz comes out and he goes, "Sam," and the woman goes, "Buzzy." And they hug each other. He picks her up. He's holding her close. He tells the fellas, "Good night. Don't wait up. We're going to go out and paint the town." And they're whooping it up. And he's like a teenager with this girl. And they leave
out the front door.
Wow. Buzz is getting some action here. He's quite the charmer at 76 here. Good for him.
A woman on a cruise. Good for Buzz. Then it's Balky and Larry left alone, and Larry is just like, "What?"
Larry's standing there with his mouth open.
And he says, "She's younger than my own mother. What can he be thinking?"
And then there's a great reaction from Balky.
Yeah, Balky's like, "Cousin, I'm just a simple meat-odd boy. But even I know what he's thinking."
This little naughty, like, at first he doesn't know how to answer. He like stutters.
You can see Bronson Pinchot like
almost crack.
Crack.
Even I know what he's thinking. Oh boy. So then, all right, what's going to happen? We cut to later.
Of course, Larry's going to wait.
Later that night, Larry is just standing in the living room in his bathrobe, staring at the front door with this look. And then he looks at
Balky's. Not a bathrobe, it's a nighttime robe.
Oh, a nighttime robe. Well, it's a different robe, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a robe.
Man, you got to have two different robes. That's a lot of robes.
Be a real man.
How do you even know which one you're supposed to wear? He's staring at the front door, but then he stares at Balky's bedroom door, real annoyed, with a look like, "How are you asleep, buddy?" So he goes over to the door. He's about to knock. He stops himself. He goes over to the closet. He pulls out a golf club and then very loudly raps on the door 5 times, throws the golf club back with the golf club, throws it back in the closet, goes and stands back in the living room. And then the door opens.
And then Balky is like in his pajamas holding Dimitri, and he comes out all sleepy, and Larry's like, "You couldn't sleep either."
Yes. Oh, wait. Let's talk about this. We get a Dimitri appearance, first of all. He's holding Dimitri under his arms, and he's wearing
like a onesie pajama. He always wears onesie pajamas. But this one is like, it looks like a quilt, like different squares patched together.
It's fantastic. You couldn't sleep either, Larry. Says it just rudely.
He like woke him up.
Rudely woke him up.
And Larry tells Balky that he's worried about Grandpa, and Balky's like, "He told you not to wait up." And then he like
on the sofa there, they walk over to the sofa, and there's like a pillow and blanket there,
presumably where Larry's supposed to sleep.
Yes, because Grandpa's in his bedroom.
And Balky just like falls over the back of the couch. So then now and like starts sleeping, and he starts snoring like the Three Stooges snores.
He does the Three Stooges. Well, before that, Larry walks around and he tells us it's 2:30 in the morning, and he doesn't see Balky lie down on the sofa. And he sits on top of Balky.
Yeah.
Balky goes, "Ow!" And so he moves over. He goes, "It's 2:30 in the morning. Where could he be?" And then you hear it's the Popeye and the Three Stooges snore though.
Where he goes.
So funny. I don't know who did that first, Popeye or the Three Stooges. Popeye. It was in the cartoon. The Stooges did it. And then Larry just pinches him real hard in the back, and he wakes up. Apparently, this whole lying down and falling asleep and snoring, none of this was in the script.
Interesting.
And Bronson just went with it, and Margolin Baker just went with it. They were
so
great.
When he sat on him, it was really interesting.
Yeah, I don't think that was in the script either. But Larry is worried. He wants to know where he could be, and then Balky turns over.
and he tries to calm him down and talk some sense into him. He says, Buzz and Sam probably had a nice romantic dinner, a little wine, a moonlit walk by the lake, and before they knew it, one thing led to another, and they found themselves playing Donkey Kong at the all-night video arcade.
Oh, it's so innocent. The pause right before that is
that's
great,
what he
too.
and Marianne
yes,
would do.
That's true.
And
then the door opens, and Buzz finally shows up, and he's kind of sad looking.
Sad.
He's all forlorn looking, and Larry just gets right at him, treating him like a 16-year-old teenager, right? Like he's the dad.
Where have you been? Do you have any idea what time it is? I've been worried sick. And Grandpa just goes, I don't want to talk about it. Kind of like a teenager, yeah.
And Larry's like, well, we are just going to have to talk about it, mister. Like it's his mom.
But Balky sees that he's sad and he's concerned, and he says, what happened? Didn't you have fun? And Grandpa says they had a great evening. We dined, we danced, then she dumped
him. Oh, and then you hear the audience go, oh, this is why he's sad. And Larry finally kind of relents and walks over. He goes, I'm so sorry, Grandpa.
We find out that she said all they had was a shipboard romance.
Oh, one of those.
She said on dry land, she didn't feel the earth move anymore. She said, buzz off, Buzz.
Buzz off, Buzz.
It was a situation ship. It was a fling.
That's what they call it, yes. So Grandpa, all dejected, Buzz sits down by the fireplace there, and we learn a little bit about Larry's dating. This is a funny line, actually. Because Larry can relate. He goes, well, Grandpa, I know how you feel. He goes, I've been dumped a few times myself. Actually, 44. And then you see Balky do some math in his head real quick.
And he goes, 45.
And he leads and he goes, 45. 45 times, Appleton. Wow.
And that was all before he met Jennifer at like 25 years old. So how much are you dating? How many times can you get dumped by 25?
It's a lot of rejection in those early years there. Yes.
Yeah.
Poor Larry.
Poor Larry.
But Grandpa now is relenting. He's like, maybe everything's worked out for the best. And he takes out his like reader's glasses and puts them on, old man glasses. And Larry tells him, maybe look, the important thing is you have your health. You have a family that loves you. He says, women half your age, nights on the town. That's for the young and foolish, she tells Grandpa. And Grandpa agrees, giving up, right?
Yeah, so Larry's feeling good because he finally found an opportunity to get Grandpa to act like a grandpa.
Buzz is like, there's no fool like an old fool. That's when he puts on his glasses on. And he's like, I've been trying to be something I'm not. Young.
And then Larry puts a blanket over his shoulders.
He puts the blanket over his shoulders, and he gets up and he shuffles
to bed.
He says, good night, boys.
And then he's out of the scene again, and Larry turns to Balky and says, well, I think that went pretty well. And Balky is like mad at Larry now. He's like, yeah, you aged him more in 60 seconds than Mama Nature did in 76 years.
And Balky is frustrated, and Larry's kind of proud of himself. But I think they broke Buzz. Anyways,
fade to black, end of Act 1.
Buzz is played by John Anderson. I don't think he's related to Sam Anderson, who plays Sam Gorpley. A lot of Andersons.
No,
but John Anderson has been in many, many things dating back to the 50s. I'm just going to read out of this list the stuff that I've heard.
Okay.
Peter Gunn, Have Gun Will Travel. Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Rifleman, Perry Mason, The Untouchables, The Twilight Zone, My Favorite Martian, The Fugitive, Rawhide, Lassie, Hawaii Five-0, Gunsmoke, Bonanza, Kung Fu, Bob Newhart Show, Emergency. Remember that show that had early George Clooney? It was ER before ER.
All right.
It was very good. Barnaby Jones, I remember Little House on the Prairie, Rockford Files, Lou Grant, Incredible Hulk, The Jeffersons, Heart to Heart, Silver Spoons, MASH, Murder, She Wrote. He had recurring roles on Dallas and MacGyver. I think I remember him in those, actually. And he was in Hitchcock's classic thriller Psycho. A lot of stuff. I kind of remember this guy in some of those shows.
Yeah, he's tall. You would remember.
He's very tall. Before we get to Act 2, listener, join this conversation. Join our Facebook group. I post a thread there of the episodes we're going to record ahead of time. So you can leave your observations, memories, your questions, watch along, and meet other listeners to this podcast. And you will meet other fans of Perfect Strangers. That's the best part.
George Clooney was on Facts of Life, too.
He was on...
young George Clooney.
Yes, I think he had a brief appearance on Facts of Life.
Yeah,
yes.
I think I've seen that. Okay. 2. And we get a familiar gag right in the opening of this act.
Oh, this is kind of fun.
The Larry dunking a cookie into his hot beverage.
Yeah, so Larry's just sitting on the sofa in the living room with a cup, and he's got it's milk or
this
tea.
This one is kind of amazing.
It's like 2 gags put together, right?
And I don't know how they timed it.
So what happens? Describe it.
Okay, so Larry's by himself on the couch. He's dunk. You see him dunk, like 1 dunk, 2 dunk, 3 dunk. And just as he's lifting it to eat the wet part, Balky bursts into the apartment and like runs in and jumps onto the couch behind Larry, like
breaking his cookie
and
back into the cup.
Jump breaks the cookie to fall into the soggy part, and so they had to.
Thwarted.
I don't know if that
Cookie
was one take
thwarted.
or if it was like just good timing. How did they time that?
I mean, Mark
or did he
Levine
like
could easily
push it with
like
his finger when
right
when the jump happened? I don't know.
But you'd have to time it because if he hit the sofa like that, the cookie, if it was dunked properly,
maybe it was a trick cookie.
It was a trick cookie. It was a prop. There was a squib in there, and they triggered it, and it exploded.
Yeah.
No, but if it was properly soaked, a hit on the sofa behind him would absolutely dislodge the wet part of the cookie back into the cup.
And I don't
the
think
physics check out.
I think you and I might be the only people to ever have this exact conversation about the cookie falling into
It's not a stunt cookie.
Unless back in the day, when they were filming it, they also talked about the mechanics of how this jump would break.
Hold on, I just rewatched it, and he does a little sleight of hand thing with his finger. He turns his hand, and his finger.
So his hand probably pushed it.
I think he just like shook it off. It was very
because even like we just watched this episode before just now, and I hadn't seen it for a while, and. At that moment, fresh when I watched it, I was like, "How did they time that?
Was that CG?
That cookie broke exactly when he jumped on. What if it broke too early or too? Yeah,
you got to do the whole thing again. How many stunned cookies did they go through? Nobody in the history of the TV rewatch podcast has ever had this conversation. I can guarantee
the only
you that.
people here.
Who else is talking about this?
Who's talking about trick cookies on their rewatch podcast? Nobody.
So anyways, Balky is excited because he says it's a beautiful day and he wants to do something to help Grandpapa Buzz. He says we could take him down to the lake. He would be basking in the sunshine, breathing in the fresh air, and in no time at all, he'll be... And Larry finishes...
in the hospital with pneumonia.
Yes, old curmudgeon Larry just shuts down that idea.
And Balky says, why don't you just burst my baboon?
That's a good Balky.
Burst my bubble.
Balloon, yeah.
Burst my balloon.
Burst my balloon.
Baboon.
Oh, yes. Baboon. Don't burst the baboon. That's even messier.
Ew.
Yeah,
I don't want to do baboon.
But Balky now
wants to get Buzz
back.
He
wants to get Buzz back. He realizes we have to do something.
And Larry's feeling no, there is no Buzz. There shouldn't have ever been a Buzz. There's no Buzz. There's just Beaumont Appleton.
Beaumont is his name. That is an old-timey name.
Appleton, my grandfather. There's nothing wrong with an elderly man acting like an elderly man.
And I mean, Larry has a point, but then to punctuate the slide, we see Buzz come out of the back, and he's got his robe on, and he's just shuffling. He's got his glasses on, walking slowly, far from the hiya, Larry, boisterous, enthusiastic Buzz
he's
we saw in the beginning.
Shuffling like an old man.
He's just.
And Balky tells Grandpapa Buzz that he has a good idea. That let's all go down to the lake. Let's have a picnic. I have tons of leftover goat lips. They're great cold.
That's a great line.
And Grandpa Buzz is like, no picnic for me. You boys go right ahead. I'll just stay here and have some weak tea.
He just wants a weak tea. And Balky's like, okay.
Old people can't even drink strong tea.
No, he just wants weak tea. Balky says he will make it for him, and he goes to the kitchen. And Larry is he's loving
Larry's
this.
All for this.
He's encouraging Grandpa.
Here.
He's like, yes, good,
let's
Grandpa.
Play checkers like we used to. And Grandpa's like, okay, maybe later after my nap. You can't even play checkers. This is kind of funny. So speaking of weak tea, first of all, he gives Grandpa a Porky Pig cup, mug. Mug that
a Porky
looks
Pig cup. I think that's like a Warner Brothers thing because they're owned by Warner Brothers.
That is like the head of Porky Pig.
Yeah.
And it has hot water in it. And so he gives him the mug with the water, and then he holds up a tea bag over the mug and like he's going to dunk it for him. And Balky goes, just say when. And he puts the tea bag in the cup, and Grandpa immediately says when. Like it's literally 1 second of brewing.
This is the weakest tea.
The weakest tea. It's just water.
You're ever going to have.
One little
just
dunk.
a little hint of Earl Grey. Just a
Not
hint.
even. You wouldn't even get a hint.
You wouldn't get anything from that one dunk?
No, I don't think so. You just get a wet tea bag.
I just wasted a whole tea bag.
I know.
But Grandpa goes, oh, there's something I forgot. That's something you do at my age. And he pulls out, he saw we had a folded up piece of paper. He hands it to Larry. He goes, this is for you, Larry. Copy of my will. Keep it handy just in case. Oh, my God. He just gave him a copy of his will.
I mean, that's like responsible, but also sad. And then Grandpa takes his hot water with a hint of tea and shuffles back to the bedroom. And he's out of the scene again. And Balky says to Larry, I hope you're happy. You took the grand out of grandpapa and you put the old back into old man.
Yes, Balky cannot believe what he's seeing. But Larry is still not buying it. He goes, Grandpa's fine. He's using the wisdom of his years, planning ahead.
Yeah,
trying to rationalize.
This is the grandpa he wants to have.
Yes, he's trying to justify all of his
Why does Larry want his grandpa to be old?
And then it gets too far as Grandpa walks out with this black suit on a hook, right? And he goes, Larry, do you have a plastic bag for my suit? I want to keep it clean. It's the one I'm going to be buried in. Oh, boy. Here we go. And now Larry is like, what's going on here? He goes, well, Grandpa, you're being foolish.
And then Grandpa's like, yeah, you're right. No sense wrapping it in plastic. I'll just put it on and wait it out.
Put it on and wait it out, he says. Oh,
he's ready to go now.
He broke Buzz.
And Balky interferes.
Yeah, Balky intervenes. Interrupts. He's had it. He's got to do something about this.
He says, Grandpa, no. By the time you're ready to go, this suit will be hopelessly out of style. Mm-hmm. And Larry is even on Balky's side now, and he tells Grandpa, when I told you to act your age, I didn't mean for you to lie down and wait to die. But Grandpa's like, no, you were right. I thought about what you said. An old man should act his age, and I was acting like an old fool. And I'd still be doing it if we hadn't had that little talk. So, Larry, he overshot it. It went too far.
He's taking his advice too much to heart. And Balky's like, Grandpapa Buzz, come on. You just act as young as you feel. And Grandpa goes, okay, I feel 106. Now can I lie down? He just wants to take a nap. And now Larry has realized what has happened. And he even says out loud, Balky, what have I done? He says this is awful. And he needs Balky's help to get Grandpa back to Buzz again now.
Buzz, yeah. And Balky says, I know just what he needs. He needs to drink from the cup of vitality. He needs to eat from the fruit bowl of life. He needs to floss with the string of hope.
These metaphors are fantastic.
Yeah, just completely made up.
Cup of vitality, fruit bowl of life, floss with the string of hope.
And Larry's like, how do we do that? And Balky has the answer. Simple. We take him to Yorgos.
Oh, Yorgos.
Yorgos. The food is great, and you're going to love the band. Now, you have to do exactly as I tell you.
And they're both standing in the living room right
Larry's
now.
Larry's like, And he goes, stand on one foot and cluck like a chicken. And Larry does it.
He's like, on one foot.
Yeah, it's so funny.
He goes, I don't see how this is going to help Grandpa. And Balky admits, it doesn't. I just like seeing you do it.
And he runs out.
He reacts and runs because he's messing with Larry.
So at least Balky has developed a sense of humor about about their dynamic in 5 years, and he's like now roasting him about it.
He pranked him a little. Remember last episode? I was like, I want to see Balky prank Larry, and he is. He does. He uses gullibility when he can. So we cut to the exterior.
Cousins should joke more.
Yes. Oh yeah, of course. Just like this.
Cousins should joke more.
Yes, they should.
They should.
We transition to an exterior shot of this restaurant. It says the White Orchid outside, but I guess this is Yorgos because we transfer inside, and it's like a fun Mediterranean restaurant, kind of like in an open courtyard-ish kind of thing, with arches and hallways in the back.
It's very like stereotypical-looking Greek kind of restaurant, with traditional decor. Looks good, yeah. And people, there's There's people there.
Balky has dragged Larry in. Larry's just wearing a suit. Balky's got this fun pink, like fluffy, like pirate shirt and this giant
we forgot
belt.
to say earlier, Balky was in one of his what we call story shirts.
Yeah, where there's like a tree and a farm
there's
and
like a whole story embroidered. I think we've seen this one before.
Yeah, that one I've seen before.
Okay.
But he's got this big belt on now that's got some stuff on it.
And
right?
a pink
and
top, which
top.
I loved for
Yes.
the 90s. You
Yes.
didn't see as many men wearing
puffy
pink.
sleeves like a pirate.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And Larry doesn't think this is going to work. And Balky goes, I'm sure. Just trust me. And then Grandpa shuffles in. He goes, sorry it took me so long. That curb was a lot higher than it looked.
Gosh.
Oh, my God. He's got Buzz is there wearing his burial suit, by the way, and his glasses are on.
Then people come in and Balky goes, Yorgo! And the man turns around, gives him a big old hug, swings him around.
Yeah, he picks him up, kind of like Buzz
pinches
picks him
his
up.
cheeks like a big, emotional, joyful Greek.
He goes, Oppa!
Oppa! And then Balky introduces Cousin Larry and Grandpa in Greek. Bronson Pinchot is speaking Greek.
Yeah, they're speaking. It's a Greek restaurant. He's speaking Greek to the
it's
guy.
basic Greek, but he's speaking. It's not Miposian. He's speaking Greek. Larry doesn't know that it's Greek. He's just like.
But you could tell his actual Greek. Like they're speaking Greek.
It was basic.
It's
Like
not
I know
subtitled.
enough basic Greek to.
Yeah.
He was just saying this is
It's
Larry.
Cousin Larry.
And then he was saying things like thank you, like Evcharisto, and he's like, yeah, this is Larry Aftos,
So
Larry, whatever.
Oh, see, you could do it.
Yeah. And they're greeting.
Yorgos also be like, that's George, right?
Yeah, that's
Greek for George.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so George like hugs Larry, goes, Oppa, 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 and he wants to stop him. Bucky has to stop
but
him.
it's like very joyful and familiar.
Yorgo.
And Larry's just watching this like, how did Bucky know these people? They're like, this is amazing. And there is like a lot of talking in this greeting, like, you know. And then they sort of like shuffle off. George shuffles off, and Larry's confused. He's like, Balky, is this a Miposian restaurant? And Balky says,
well, of course not.
Don't be ridiculous.
Of course I have. Don't be ridiculous.
Of course not. Don't be ridiculous. It's a Greek restaurant. He said, if it were a Miposian restaurant, there would be a pig check girl.
That's pretty funny. There'd be a pig check girl. So then George comes back, and he's got two waiters in red velvet vests and shirt, and they got long mullets. And they're all like, oh, Balky, Oppa. Very enthusiastic.
Yeah.
A lot of Greek being thrown around. They pick up. Oh, so one guy picks up Balky, tosses him to the next guy. That guy picks up Balky, hugs him, tosses him over.
It's like a what do you call it? A assembly line of hugs.
And then he lands in this woman's arms at a table, and he's on her lap, Balky, and she grabs him.
Oh,
like,
you're so cute, and tries to like I don't know.
Balky's like, let me go, babe. This is Athena. Yeah, he calls it Athena.
Let me go, babe.
Athena. So he lands in Athena's lap. It's kind of funny.
She was trying to make out with him.
Then they pick up Larry the same way and hug him and move him over. Then they pick up Buzz the same way and hug him. And
then they like rush the three men to their table and they sit them in the seats. And then they bring over, you can hear them saying like the Greek dishes, like appetizers.
Like pita bread.
Pita, calamari. All this stuff.
And they're all, there's all this Greek going. They set it up, and then Balky's saying something in Greek, and he just goes, bye-bye,
like,
babe.
Yorgo. Okay, bye-bye, babe.
Okay, Yorgo.
They go off. So now they're at the
babe.
table with some food on the table, all very quickly. It was fun.
And Grandpa is now seated with the bib on, all whirlwind, spun around, picked up, and Larry's like, isn't this great, Grandpa? Don't you feel alive? And Buzz is like, don't you feel a draft?
And so they're like, why don't you try some food, Grandpapa? Why don't you try some of this? It'll make your taste buds dance. And Grandpa says, no, I don't want to risk staining my burial suit. He's wearing the suit.
And Larry's like, okay, come on. Let's all try this. He wants to encourage him. They look like little falafel things.
Or maybe
meatballs. Yeah, it could be
something.
meatballs. He's like, come on, Grandpa. It'll be a new experience. Here, take a bite. And Larry takes a bite of one and suddenly reacts to the spice.
He's like, ooh. He's coughing, gasping.
First he's like, and then he's like, ah!
He's like, Balky, are you trying to burn a hole in his stomach? A man his age can't eat that stuff. A man my age can't eat that stuff.
Larry can't handle spicy food very well, but Buzz is taking it just delightful. He's eating it.
He took a bite. He's like, not too bad. Sure clears the sinuses. Okay, this part, I don't know Greek food to be spicy.
Yeah,
though.
I mean, Yeah, like just appetizers, especially
really
appetizers.
Make sense, but maybe
it's a specific
couple spicier dishes.
I thought that too. I was like, what kind of Greek food is spicy?
Food. I don't know.
You got to add the spice.
I'm not Greek though, but in my experience,
if you know what this spicy brown thing is,
spicy meatballs. Is that
maybe it's a spicy meatball?
Okay, but it works for the scene, I guess, or for later.
And then Balky turns and motions to this dude in the band, and this dude walks over with a lute, but it's called a bouzouki. It's like a little Greek guitar
lute.
And suddenly, starts to do an intro strum. He goes, dun, 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 and then both Larry and Buzz, their napkins go flying in the air as they're startled because there's a man next to him playing this Greek guitar all of a sudden.
Yeah, I love that sound.
And at this point, the whole restaurant is clapping along.
Yeah.
The band is playing.
Lively music.
It's very lively. And Larry's like, Balky, I think we need to switch tables. The music is too much for Grandpa. But Buzz seems to be enjoying it as he's like, that little index finger waving around.
And Balky's like, no. And then Larry tries to tell Grandpa to move, but Balky takes one of the spicy meatballs and shoves it into Larry's mouth.
That's great.
And Larry's like reacts to that, but there's no water on his table, so he goes over to Athena's table and goes for the water, and she grabs him. Yes. She's like, "Oh, you're cute." And
now he's on her lap dying as so this lovely woman Athena, who's had both Bronson and Mark Lindbaker fall into her lap, is played by Marianne Mueller-Leal. I remember her. She's been on the show before because I remember trying to say this name.
Oh, Mueller-Leal.
Mueller-Leal.
What was she on before?
It was Can I Get a Witness, I believe, was the other episode she was on. But she will go on to appear with Bronson in that short-lived show, The Trouble with Larry series that didn't do well. Yeah, she was on Can I Get a Witness? She was in That's the episode with Vince Lucas where they go and they got to testify. And they got him thrown. She's one of the police women.
Oh, right. So the music is so lively that the waiters and Yorgo start a Greek line dance traveling through
picking up
the
patrons.
arches, like around through the restaurant, and they're picking up people from the tables. And so the waiter who's at the end of the line grabs Balky to join in, and then Balky grabs Grandpa.
And Grandpa's like, "Oh no, I can't."
Grandpa, and he's like, "Come on, let's dance." And so they join the line. He picks him up.
This is fun. Now, from this point on, this dancing is going on. They're going.
So fun.
Because the way they got this stage set up is you can go out the back and come around and disappear. They dance off the screen, and Larry's so funny. He gets off of Athena's lap. He walks over. He goes, "Balky, the floor is very slippery. We don't know these people." He's just trying to come up with excuses.
And the line just like disappears off.
He's like, "I don't think we should be doing this. We don't know these people." It's so funny. And then the line reappears the other side of the room.
On the side, and the order has changed a little bit, and there's a woman in the dance line between Balky and Grandpa Buzz. And Balky says, "Grandpapa, look, what a surprise. It's Sophia."
Oh, it's you. How'd you get in this?
It's Sophia with a PH. Greek Sophia.
Yes, an attractive older woman.
But when I've been to Greece a few times, and every time they're always very delighted to hear my name.
Sophia is in the episode.
Yes.
And so now he's dancing with this woman. He's like, "It's nice to meet you." And she's like, "Oh, you're too young to be Grandpa. I just call you Buzz."
Okay.
Which
Buzz
is weird. Did anybody tell her his name was Buzz? How did she just figure out it was Buzz? Oh, he set her up. That's right.
He set her up, yeah. But otherwise, that would be weird. I agree.
But Grandpa Buzz is loving this as they dance around.
Larry pulls Balky off the line.
This is the part where you were laughing, where he pulls Balky back.
Oh my God, it's so funny because Balky's just like doing random.
He's trying to do these
high kicks. And then when Larry grabs him off the line, he's just like He takes Larry and together. They like hopping to the music. I laughed a lot at that. It was very cute.
And so the line's going in and out. Grandpa's having a blast, and Larry is freaking out.
Yeah. He's freaking out. He says, "Balky, what is the matter with you? Are you out of your mind? Spicy food, loud music, dancing? He could have a heart attack. I don't want to be known as the one in the family who killed Grandpa." And Balky has a really valid retort. He says, cousin, you're halfway there. You're the one who got him in his burial suit.
That's true.
Yeah. So then the line comes back, and then
Yorgos
stops like kind of near where they're standing, and he has this plate in his hand, and he smashes it on the ground.
He goes,
Oppa! And the plate breaks into pieces.
It's so great. Plate smashing is happening. This is great.
Plate smashing. And Larry's like, see? That's how accidents happen.
And then Grandpa steps next to him, and he goes, Oppa! And he smashes
the plate, too.
And he's
so
giddy like a little kid.
Yeah, he's having a good time.
And Larry's like, oh, my Lord. He's lost control of his motor skills.
No, yeah, Larry's not realizing what's happening.
He's like, I got to get him out of here before he hurts himself.
And then Balky finally says, grabs Larry and says, calm down. Look at him. He's having fun. And they turn around and they see Grandpa Buzz dancing in this line dance. Yeah. And it's still moving around the restaurant. And next to him is Sophia, and they're having a good time. And Larry's like, okay, I guess I could let him finish the dance. The line dance dances by them again. And Larry's like, it looks like they're having fun, actually. And Balky says, yeah, Grandpapa Buzz seems to feel young again. How about you? And Balky grabs a plate from the table in front of them and gives it to Larry. He's like, how about you? Or do you feel young again? Meaning like, do you want to break this plate and yell Oppa? But before he has a chance to, the line comes back by them and Grandpa takes the plate from him and he goes, like this, Larry, and throws it on the ground and goes, Oppa! And then he dances
and he runs
away.
off like a little kid. He's having a blast. Buzz is back.
Yeah.
Larry's like, thanks, Grandpa.
And he says to Balky, okay, good. It looks like Buzz is back.
Buzz is back.
And he thanks Balky.
Yes, because this was all Balky's doing.
And so, but then Balky's not quite satisfied. He wants Larry to be having fun too. So again, he grabs another plate and he gives it to him. And Larry's like, no, I couldn't. And Balky's like, yes, you could. And Balky takes the plate. He's like, look, just like this. And he smashes it on the ground. He's like, Oppa! And the line kind of stops, and everyone's in the restaurants looking at Larry, and they're clapping along to the music.
What's coming.
And Larry's like, okay, oh well. And he grabs another plate from the table, and he goes, Oppa! And he throws it down, and the plate doesn't break.
It
just bounces.
And the music stops, and everybody looks at him. So you knew that was coming. That is so funny.
The music stops. That's the end of the episode. The credits roll.
Roll credits. But this is like a Marvel movie. You never leave during the credits because we have something very special. You don't usually see this.
How did you even know to keep watching?
The second time I watched, I was just like, I noticed that it wasn't a still shot when the credits came up. We come back with
usually
video.
It's a still shot,
yes.
Yeah.
And what is this clip? This is the best part of the episode.
It is so beautiful. So while the credits are rolling, it kind of like goes to black, then they come back, like an encore at a concert. And it's slow Greek music this time.
Yeah, like that. Dun, dun,
yeah,
dun, dun,
yeah, like
dun,
very slow.
And Balky and Larry are doing this choreographed two-person
Greek dance.
It reminded me also, though, a lot of Fiddler on the Roof, the wedding bottle
scene.
dance.
Just because they're on there, they go down to their knees.
They spin around.
And
they do
Balky and Larry do the same thing. And the whole time I'm looking at all these shattered plates on the ground.
Yes.
I'm like, they're gonna get
plate
ceramic in their knees because they're down on their knees.
They do at a Greek restaurant.
But it's choreographed. It's beautiful. And we know by now, by season 6, that Mark Lynn-Baker and Bronson Pinchot are really good when they dance and sing together.
Well, I'm thinking of the
theater
and stuff.
The last one I really enjoyed was the hammer dance.
Oh, that's right. They did the hammer dance.
They both are talented dancers.
This Greek
singers.
dance slowly turns into the dance of joy.
Yeah.
And they do the whole dance of joy and they turn to each other.
Without the music. I mean, it's still to the Greek music. And then at the part where Larry jumps into his arms, he only grabs one leg and he's kind of posing and they do a spin and he put it down. Around. Oh, it's beautiful.
And then they both he puts them down and they both dance out the stage left of the restaurant.
And then it fades to black for real, but you're like, we want more of this.
Oh my God, that should have been the whole episode. Yeah. That was the best part.
We want more of this.
Then roll credits.
And then now, of course, we have the privilege of being able to rewind it and watch it again and again and again.
Listener, before we give you our thoughts, check out our TeePublic shop. You can get some Dance of Joy swag, t-shirts, hoodies. It's getting cold.
I'm wearing
again.
mine right now.
You're going to need a hoodie. And there's hoodies, tank tops, t-shirts. Check it out. Get yourself something warm to wear with the Dance of Joy logo at danceofjoypod.com/shop. That was a fantastic ending. No, like you said, you would have hoped to like record it or kept watching to catch this little bit that he must have been. I don't know if it was part of the show one time. They kept filming. They were having fun. Maybe they filmed it for the credits, but it was fantastic. Apparently, we will see some more video credits coming up in the future in some episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited. What did you think of this episode?
I mean, I thought once they get to, it was a long way to get to the dancing. Once the dancing in the Greek restaurant happens, it's a lot of fun.
That's the fun part.
The talking Greek, the smashing plates. Who doesn't love smashing plates?
It was a long, so us thinking about it with our brains, we're trying to figure out like what was the big gimmick of this episode that they wrote the story for or whatever. It might not have been that. Maybe they just wanted.
I mean, it is all about like aging and
like
acting your age, but not giving up entirely.
But
so
the dancing was the highlight. I agree.
But easily the end credit dancing. It was all leading up to. I just wanted to see them do that for half an hour. They go around.
Oh my God, they're so good. They should have just traveled and danced. If they had social media in 1991.
Oh, they would kill it on the TikTok there, right?
I said this before, but I'll say it again. I would love to start a social media, a TikTok trend that's the Dance of Joy.
Oh, right. Doing it in different places.
And then people just do the Dance of Joy and then tag it.
Dance of Joy, this city or this country.
Will the listeners help us start this TikTok trend?
Our listeners.
You have to tag the podcast.
See, but the thing is, we have to be brave and do it first.
We have to do it.
We have to do it first. That's not going to happen.
Can you, if I jump into your arms?
I might hurt I can hold you. I might hurt myself. I might hurt my back.
I don't think I can hold you. Maybe. I've been working out.
I don't want to blow out my ACL.
We need somebody to start.
Somebody needs to start this Dance of Joy.
Dance of Joy.
I mean, it was, Buzz was great. That guy was great. It was decent. They had some good Belkyisms.
Sam was a good twist, but not. Yeah.
You know what? That
Sam was just a tool.
We recently at my office we had a boy Sam and girl Sam, and it was funny. Sometimes.
Oh, boy Sam, girl Sam.
Yeah, you confuse them.
They, them, Sam.
Yeah. But it was to me. It was the dancing. Once they start dancing, once the Greek music starts.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna get into listener comments, and I was a little bit surprised by them, by some of the comments, because when this episode finished, what did I say to you? I was like, at least we don't have any incredulity in this.
It's pretty straightforward.
We don't have any questions why would you even do that? I feel like the past 2 or 3 episodes we've been
they just
I
jump
don't
to
really
these
buy
weird
this.
things.
And it's so weird, and it doesn't make any sense.
But
this one was a straightforward story.
He's a widower. He met someone on the ship. He came to visit. All makes sense.
Then that was also a tool to change his character.
And then that flips him to Grandpa. Yeah, and then they go.
And then we go dancing.
They go dancing, and Buzz is back. He meets
If you want to
Sophia.
feel young, you just go to a Greek restaurant.
And then they have him meet someone age appropriate, and it's a little more healthy.
Very lovely.
And Buzz is back. I was like, oh, that's great. Look.
So I enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice episode.
And then there's dancing. Come on. And plate smash.
Because I was judging it by the lack of any this doesn't make sense or any unanswered questions that we had. The last few episodes
have had a lot of those.
Yeah.
But not too much suspension of disbelief. So
all right.
What do our listeners think?
Okay, speaking of before we get into listeners, I had another thought. Speaking of cousins, because these are all our listeners are all cousins of ours. Back to Riot Fest for a second.
Oh, yeah.
The Foo Fighters were the big main event at night.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to find my friends who came separately. But when Foo Fighters started, I was in the middle of the crowd because I was just on my own at that point. I had met different friends, but I ended up on my own. And I'm a little person, listeners. I'm 5'2". So I was just trying to it was easy for me to snake my way through the crowd and keep inching forward and forward.
You got to get up there.
Because I can't see anything otherwise, right? I mean, they had screens, but I wanted to try to see the actual Dave Grohl on stage.
Yeah.
So I was at one point, I was in the middle, deep in the crowd, all around me crowd. and my friends were messaging me trying to tell me where they were. I was very confused. I was like, there's no way. How am I going to find them? Look at this. Because all I could see around me was just crowd and crowd and crowd.
Yeah.
And then I finally figured out they were on like the way other side from where I was. So I sort of snaked my way back. I went on a long, long walk while the concert was happening. And I found them. I was like, I can't believe we were texting back and forth. I found my friends on the other side. And we're enjoying the show for a while, this and that. And I turn around. And standing right behind us
Bronson Pinchot?
No, that would have been amazing. But our actual cousin.
Oh, that's even crazier.
And her husband.
Yeah. Random.
Actually, our cousin's kid, but my friends were like, you don't have to say that. She's your cousin.
What is your cousin's kid? What is that?
They told me it's still a cousin. So anyway, you know who you are. I don't think she listens to the show, but she knows who she is. And it was lovely to see them. And she told me, she was like, I knew I would either run into you or Imran here. I was like, well, you got one.
It's so random. And I was
my actual
proud
cousin,
of people.
Yeah, it was like so many people at a Foo Fighters show.
Yeah.
And it even took me forever to find that set of friends I was looking for. And then I turn around and it's just her and her husband just like rocking out.
That's great.
And I was like, oh, hello. And
I love the Foo Fighters. I should have went, but I don't know if I need a crowd of people these days. I don't know.
Yeah. Dave Grohl was a little too
he can still rock though.
Was swearing a little too much.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
He can still rock.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He can still rock.
Yeah.
This man played for 2 hours with so much energy and conducted this show. And I was like, wow. And he still has good hair.
I saw them like maybe 10, 15 years ago, and every song is great.
I saw Dave Grohl in a restaurant in D.C.
I think you told that story. I remember.
He was just randomly there at Le Diplomat. Anyway, what did our listeners think?
Dave Grohl was in this episode?
Dave Grohl was not in this episode, but somehow we got there.
What did our listeners think?
Oh, speaking of old people who act young or who still have youth and livelihood to them. He's not
Dave
acting
Grohl,
yet.
right, yeah.
He's still performing, yeah. All right, what did our listeners think? First up, we have listener cousin Nicole Stoner, who writes, remember all the way back in season 1's first date when Larry was uncomfortable dancing in the Greek restaurant? Love his character development here, where his bigger concern at another Greek restaurant is for his grandpa's health and safety rather than thinking he'll embarrass himself again.
Okay.
Very true, but he also didn't dance until the credits.
He didn't want to join
in. Speaking of the credits, Nicole Stoner writes, we got to talk about those credits. You can tell throughout the dancing that Bronson and Mark are being themselves and having fun. It's endearing to watch. Yeah, it's lovely. Absolutely lovely.
Nicole knew, I think she knew what the dances were.
She must be Greek. Oh, actually, we'll find out.
Yeah, she explains it.
She writes, speaking of our end of episode endearment, it looks like the cousins are dancing the Hasapiko. I don't know if I'm butchering these pronunciations, but Hasapiko, but there are also elements of the Sirtos. In fact, it is quite possible that the cousins are actually dancing the Sirtaki, a combination of both the Hasapiko and Sirtos that was first featured in the film adaptation of Zorba the Greek in 1964.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's the exact dance in homage to the film.
Oh.
Here she says, friendly disclaimer though, I have North Macedonian heritage, not Macedonian Greek heritage. Touchy subject. So my knowledge isn't up to snuff. As far as the other dance we see during the restaurant scene, it looks like the waitstaff are dancing the Kalamatianos.
So I think these are all like authentic Greek style.
Dances,
and maybe if it was an homage to Zorba the Greek, that's
that
fantastic.
would make sense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
They do stuff like that on this show. Let's not talk about Macedonia, Greek
really,
politics.
they don't get along?
It's like a whole geopolitical thing. All I remember is, so there were a lot of Greek kids at our school, right? We grew up with a lot of, one of my best friends was Greek.
Yeah, in high school and junior high. Yeah.
And there was like, I remember there were like these contingents of like the loud, proud Greeks that would hang out in the parking lots. And I looked this up later. It's a real song. I found it, but for years, all I remembered was this like dance beat that they would play from their cars.
Yeah.
Again, high school in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
And in my memory, it goes like this. It goes, the song was just like, and then it would pause and it would be like, Macedonia is Greek.
Macedonia?
Macedonia is Greek. So there's like a contention over what Macedonia is geopolitically.
Interesting.
But there is this. I did find that dance beat. It's a little different than my memory served it, but hold on. Original version. Hold on. DJ Pantelis.
Macedonia is Greek.
Okay, wait.
Isn't that amazing? I remember that from the parking lot in high school. Like that was a banger in the parking lot of Niles West High School once upon a time.
That sounds like Night at the Roxbury, like you're partying in Ibiza.
And that's
like in Ibiza
how I've
nightclub.
always known about like the geopolitics of Greece
Wait,
and Macedonia.
Can we just one more time?
Yeah.
Please?
Macedonia is Greek.
That's like when the DJ drops the beat.
Listen,
he drops the bass.
We are not partial to anyone's side, regardless of your thoughts and feelings about Macedonia.
I hope that didn't make anyone mad, but that's a banger.
But
That's
that is a fun banger
yeah.
that reminds me of high school.
That's so funny.
The things I remember from high school, not like anything from chemistry, but I
don't
do
remember doing any
Macedonia
actual
is Greek.
homework, but yeah. Fantastic.
Which I think
shout out to
the
DJ
Macedonians will have a problem with.
Yeah.
But
How many Macedonian listeners do we have? We're going to find out now.
Or like the Turks. Oh, no, like scratch that part. Whoever else claims Macedonia.
It's complicated.
Yeah, we are not a political podcast. Okay. Moving on. That was quite the tangent. Moving on back to our listeners. Listener cousin Pam Hitchcock writes, I thought the best part of the episode was the Greek dance morphing into the dance of joy at the end.
Yep.
I learned that opa is an expression of joy or enthusiasm, but I kind of guessed that. Also, I learned something else about Mypos. They treat their young as if they're old to gain wisdom. Oh, this is interesting. This is why I love our listeners. They go deep like we do. She writes, that goes completely against what Balki said about children in the Tess episode. He basically said kids will be kids and you never tell them no. I don't think either of those theories pan out. She asks, is Larry ageist or overprotective? Probably both.
Yeah, he's a little bit both, overprotective and being
The
ageist.
two aren't mutually exclusive. I didn't find this a particularly good episode. For me, it just felt like it dragged. You knew how it was going to end from the start. Perfect Strangers is getting pretty
I mean,
stale.
it is predictable, and even like the
Fair
joke
point.
where Larry's plate he throws it's not going to break.
Yeah.
Like you saw that coming.
We all saw that
How
coming.
did you not
yeah.
see that coming? It's getting a little predictable, but
It was still funny.
Yeah.
I still laughed. I
it
knew
was still
coming.
funny
I
when you
still
hear it
laughed.
because the sound, the thunk, and the music
and then
stuff.
the plate like bounces.
Yeah, it's hilarious. It's so funny.
It was like a plastic like plate or something.
But yeah, so again, the dancing is the best. So do you
Is Perfect Strangers getting pretty stale? Yes, it is, but we will persevere.
I think
There might be gems.
we got some interesting episodes.
Yeah.
Having posted a few episodes
I didn't
ahead.
see this credit thing coming. This
Yeah.
dancing, and so that was a delightful surprise.
That is joy right there, is the dancing at the end of the credit. So they treat their young as if they're too old to gain wisdom, and they also don't tell them no. Can you do both things and raise kids of a... I don't know. No? Doesn't work.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's not really contradictory. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, look. They didn't bank on us remembering anything from episode to episode back in the day.
You didn't think you were going to talk about this 35 years later.
Okay. Listener cousin John Adama writes, it's an interesting contrast that the first time we hear of Balki's grandparent, she dies while Larry's is somehow too full of life. Yeah.
Oh.
I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
And he writes,
that.
maybe it's because I saw some of my own family members suddenly age, or maybe it's because the focus is not on the boys, but I found this to be a pretty unfunny episode.
Oh.
You know things are degrading when the high point of the episode is during the credits. C-.
Okay, I mean, that's a fair point. That's the best. Like the best part is during the credits is where it builds up to as it's over for the final few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, these are all fair points. I guess when I was thinking about the episode, it was in comparison to the past few.
Yeah.
So I was like, I like this. But if you look at it on its own, yeah, these are fair points. And then we have listener cousin Whitney Smith, who writes to me, this episode showed you are as young as you feel. Yeah, that's kind of like the main lesson of it.
The takeaway.
She says, poor Buzz after Sam dumped him, though. And this is interesting. This was another episode where it didn't make sense toward the middle end, like in the last episode. I didn't feel this, but let's see what she says. She writes, what was the point in taking him to a Greek restaurant? Couldn't they have went somewhere else? I know they were trying to help him feel young again, but he was really hurt and Sam dumping him. They could have tried to get them back together. That's not a good idea.
No, it's not age appropriate.
I just didn't see the point in the Greek restaurant, except for the fact that they had so much energy and he got sucked into the mob mentality. Well, that was the point, was to get him up and dancing and feeling joyful and young.
And also that culture, like even they're old,
they
are
fun.
celebrated. They have fun.
Yeah.
Balky found someone a little closer to his
knew
age.
that was gonna...
He set this whole thing up with
and Balky
Yorgos.
was like friends with them. Yeah.
I mean, I think the surprising thing is Balky speaks
Greek. Well, Mypos is
close,
like in the vicinity. Yeah.
It is Mediterranean, so they speak multiple languages.
And as with everyone else, she writes, them doing the dance of joy Greek style was the icing on the cake. Loved it. Those guys have great dance and coordination skills.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the best part is in the end is good and bad, I guess. Now that I'm thinking about it.
I think if you judge the episode on its own, it falls short, but like compared to the ones before.
But it ends on such a like fun note that I almost forgive like all that whatever they're doing.
It ends with so much joy that you're like, I
Buzz
love
is
to
back.
watch this.
Live your life.
And we got a good dance. And look at this beautiful dance at the end. You know, they should have had Buzz in the choreography in the credits. That would have been fun.
Well, yeah. How do you do a 3-person dance of joy? They haven't cracked that skull. We did get Don't Be Ridiculous twice.
Of course I have. Don't be ridiculous.
And we've seen Dimitri quite often these past few episodes. Dimitri, of course, comes out of the bedroom with Balky when he's woken up and he's in his pajamas.
And the photo is there.
And the photo is still on.
So the Dimitri intern really trying to make up
Maybe they got a new intern.
Maybe they got a new guy. He's like, I'm going to take Dimitri in a whole new direction.
Maybe this intern got hired because he's like...
Now he's a writer.
She or he was like, we need more Dimitri. I would hire that Dimitri intern.
I think it's like Bronson was making those decisions maybe, where he's like, I'd be holding Dimitri here. I'm just going to grab him.
We need more Dimitri.
I love it.
Okay, let's talk about Perfect Strangers today. PS Today, which is, of course, the segment of this podcast where we talk about, can this episode from 1991 be made today? What things would have to change? What things still hold up? Is it a good idea to do it again?
I'll give you this. This one, season 6, this one is pretty timeless.
Yeah.
Top to bottom.
Yeah.
That's the one
There's
good
not
thing
even
you can
like
say
a
about
telephone reference.
No.
There's not even.
There's still cruises. They still would have met someone who was too young for him. That still happens.
They're still breaking plates.
They're still smashing plates and having fun.
Still food. Yeah.
They're still saying Opa.
Lithuanian circuses and log rides and
there's still flume rides that
there's literally nothing.
Largely, it's just
very high PS Today.
High
score.
PS Today score. It's just like predictable and
it's predictable,
you know,
in terms of PS Today and doing it in today's times.
Yeah, there was no other like weird references. Like you could do this again.
Oh, maybe the paper will would have been like a digital document or something.
Oh, right. No, but people still have their will in like little binders and things. You got to print it out. Look at it. So,
everything's pretty timeless in this.
So,
IPS Today.
However you thought the episode was, it's
and I would in fact encourage it just to see Marklin Baker and Bronson Pinchot dance.
I wish those credits weren't on the screen. I'm watching this and I'm like, "What? Take the credits off. Take the words off. I wanted to just watch them. I wish it wasn't covered up with the
We need
credits.
like a re-release. We need to petition the studio.
I can watch the end of that
footage
over and over again. It's fantastic. I need it on loop.
Well, we can do it now. It just has to be with credits over it.
I know. I don't want the credits. I want somebody to find me that footage without any superimposed credits. So, yeah, do it again.
I'm sure the AI can do that.
Yeah. That's it for this week. Join us next week when Balky has yet another Myposian cold remedy. I suppose you can have more than one.
You can have more than one.
You can have one different ways.
What kind of cold do you have?
It depends on the cold. Is it a head cold? Is it top to bottom?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I guess.
We'll find out. In the meantime, you can support the show, give back by buying us a virtual coffee. Visit our website.
Buying us a virtual spicy goat lip.
Spicy goat lips. Buying us virtual spicy. We will buy some.
I wish we could personalize the buy us a coffee to something Myposian.
But right now, it's a little virtual tip jar. You can give back. All of it goes back into the show. And we'd love to have your support. Thank you for everyone who has supported.
Thank you for everyone who has bought a coffee so far. We enjoy it. Every little bit helps. So if you are not able to buy us a virtual coffee, that's totally okay. You can help us in other non-monetary ways. You can just go to our website, please, danceofjoypod.com. Send the link. Get it in your head, danceofjoypod.com. Send the link around. Also, there on the website, from there, you can go to all the places where we broadcast this website, all the sites where you can follow all those links and leave us ratings and reviews and tell the world how much you're enjoying this little podcast of ours. You can subscribe. Subscriptions help us as well. You can boost our morale by pressing a little button on the main page of that website and leaving us a voice message. You can do that right from the website. Please do this. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us about your grandpa Buzz or other grandparents and how youthful they are. Tell us if you went to Riot Fest this weekend. We want to hear it.
Yeah, if you were there, you saw my sister. Every
little bit helps keep us going. We are possibly getting into some challenging, at the end of the season, season 6, 7, and 8 are going to start to get a little harder, I think, for Imran and me to get through. So send us some motivation. We are committed and devoted to seeing this through. You can also
It's rough.
Email us anything you like at danceofjoypod@gmail.com or hit us up on any of our social media accounts. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. But Imran, what is the most important thing our listeners should do?
Well, if you're short, always bring a stool when you go out to a concert. That way you can see the stage. Or
I heard
find someone you can stand on their shoulders.
Yes.
Make
I'm 5'2". I don't see many.
Also, make sure you
hear them.
You take out your goat lips before they get too crispy. Nobody likes crispy goat lips. No, the most important thing is to share this show, listener, of course, with your cousin, with other festival goers, with your grandpa, with your grandparents.
Yes.
With the Greek dance line.
With the man at Costco who helps you buy an entire goat.
Yes. Why do we have to show them our receipt when we just bought this thing from you? Well, you think I'm stealing things now?
You think I'm
Costco.
stealing this entire
kind
goat?
Of offensive.
That's a bold move.
Hey, does anybody else hate when you can leave Costco and they gotta look at your receipt? I just bought it from right there. You watched me.
Literally, the lady. Okay, so the goat that we bought wasn't the whole goat, but it was in this giant box.
She's like, "Where's the goat?"
Pounds, and that's all she looked for. She's like, "Where is my goat on this list?"
They look for the high ticket items.
Yeah. Like, you think we would steal a huge
or
box
I think their cashiers are doing a good job. They got to be double checked. What is going on here, Costco?
Yeah.
You sell too many things.
It's the little things. What if we use the goat as the distraction and then stole a bunch of little things
anything
that added up? She didn't check the whole list. She just looked for the goat.
I never understood why they check the receipt at the Costco.
We don't steal, by the way. We pay for everything at Costco. All right. Share the show with a friend. That's the point. Word of mouth goes a long way, and we love it if you would help us out. That's our show for today. Now we are so happy.
We do the dance of joy. Hey.
Hoppa. Smash. Hold on for the broken plates.